If you're generating and sending medical waste offsite right now, there's almost certainly an opportunity for you to improve your sustainability metrics, better quantify your emissions generations, and likely save money while doing it. What we see fairly often when there's this kind of top-down sustainability drive is that you have heads of sustainability or leaders within the company focused on the sustainability space who kind of look at their area of focus. They look at the facilities or the operations under their purview and they say, okay, great. Let's try to identify what the different drivers of emissions or consumption here are. One area where we see a lot of initial focus is on increasing loading density of transports both into and out of a given facility. Moving goods by truck can be quite efficient, but most of the time what you're really doing is moving a lot of air. So anything you can do to densify material on site cuts down the number of truck trips that you have to make to move that material, which can have an outsized impact on your corporate sustainability if all of a sudden you're able to reduce all of your trucking requirements by 50%. We'd had recently kind of is a perfect example of trying to put these corporate sustainability goals and targets into practice. One gentleman who's in charge of a number of facilities was tasked with first quantifying and then reducing sources of emissions from the 8 facilities under his purview. He gets a good sense of what current operations are. And one of the first things he notices is that a lot of the trucks leaving the loading dock area are mostly packed full of air. They're very non-densely loaded. And so these trucks are having to run 2, 3, 4 times more trips per day to carry the same volume of waste that could be packed into these trucks much more densely. So in looking at this, he asked the question, how can I pack these trucks more densely when they're leaving my site? Well, the trucks are carrying untreated medical waste. And so to be able to more densely pack that medical waste onto the trucks, it needs to be first treated on site and then ground and possibly granulated down to a denser form factor so it can more efficiently fill those trucks.
Daniel Nelson, Chief Commercial Officer at BioSAFE Engineering, and myself most recently attended the PPTA, which is a Plasma Protein Therapeutics Association meeting. It was very exciting for us to introduce BioSAFE and also to understand scenarios are within those companies that are collecting plasma. One thing that we were excited about was an initial incentive or recognition that there are sustainability goals to be met in the near future. In introducing BioSafe Engineering, discussed how treatment can be on site to eliminate patient risk, barcodes, that sort of thing, through the shredding process, and also really allow them to understand that there are alternatives to the current methods that they use as far as waste treatment or waste disposal. Consolidation of waste, landfill diversion is something that was brought up in a couple of meetings, but really allowing BioSafe to be a part of that team and in going forward to integrate ourselves and be a part of those decisions and discussions going forward is very exciting.
The waste generated by the plasma industry is really one of the best candidates for targeted recycling that we encounter. That's because their operations are often kind of very focused. So a single site may just be doing fractionation or it may just be doing donor qualification testing. Based on that, we know, hey, this system is going to be treating or processing, the same 3 to 10 components, and we can quantify the materials in each of those components. So we have an expected output. We know, hey, the material treated and broken down by the system is going to be 60% polypropylene and 40% polyethylene. If we know that and we have a known output, it makes it very simple and cost effective to set up a separation line to isolate and capture each of those resins to then sell back into the recycled plastics market, often as post-consumer product, which is particularly valuable in the recycled goods industry.
With the expertise and the knowledge here at BioSafe, there's a lot of discussion around recycling. And I think that we can evaluate what you're currently doing and whether recycling is an option. If you are sending waste out, we can bulk reduce by 80 or 90%. We can divert your waste from landfill.
If before sustainability was a goal without a budget, sustainability targets now have budgets associated with them. And this doesn't mean that groups will pay any amount of money for any incremental increase in sustainability. But what it does mean is when you have a forecastable project with a predictable sustainability impact and predictable financials, particularly when the financials are supportive, those projects can get the green light a lot more easily than I've ever seen in the past.
The fact that BioSafe can provide eco-friendly solutions to waste, and again, the focus is on the donor and also onto the patients, but also that the waste leaving the collection centers may be treated in an eco-friendly way. And as mentioned before, help those member companies meet their sustainability goals, whatever it's 2030, 2040, or 2050. And as regulation comes forward, we're here to help them meet those goals.